Hello guys, welcome back to Tactical Trafford, and today we are going to be building our ideal Manchester United team with Victor Osimhen. As you all know, Victor Osimhen is a 26 years old striker that is currently in Napoli but is known at Galatasaray. So we are going to be building our ideal Manchester United team with Victor Osimhen. As you all know, Manchester United are looking for a new number 9, and we have been linked to various strikers like Jean-Philippe Mateta, Victor Gyökeres and Victor Osimhen. But today the point of focus is Victor Osimhen. We want to build our ID team around Victor Osimhen by talking about all the key characteristics of Victor Osimhen. So guys, let's dive into the video. So guys, the first characteristics of Victor Osimhen we are going to be going into is his finishing. Obviously, as you all know, Victor Osimhen is one of the most prolific strikers in world football. He has a very wonderful finishing, but he relies more on power than finesse or precision or preciseness in his finishing, as he looks to go for power most of the times when it comes to his finishing, and that makes most of his ball to go up high, which is not actually nice. And Victor Osimhen actually has a conversion rate of 16.67%, and one of the most unfair stats of Victor Osimhen is that most of his shots, 40% of his shots, comes from headers, and if you add his headers to his shot or to his conversion rate, he's going to move his conversion rate a bit up to like 20.83%, which is actually fair for a striker. But when it comes to finishing, Victor Osimhen is one of the most prolific strikers in world football. He has scored a total of 35 goals this season for Galatasaray, and that's actually a number that only Kylian Mbappe and probably Victor Gyökeres has been able to match this season, or maybe Lewandowski is up there also as one of the strikers that are able to score more than 30 goals in all competition. That's so when it comes to finishing, Victor Osimhen is a player that finishes with his head or with his leg, whichever way you want it. Victor Osimhen is a very good finisher, but one of the most important factors that we have to touch when it comes to Victor Osimhen finishing is that he needs a bit more refining when it comes to his finishing, because most of the times his shots go up wide, and most of the times Victor Osimhen tends to score from short distances rather than from long distances, like the kind of Harry Kane, Lewandowski, Luis Suarez. They can score from any distance or they can score from long distances, but Victor Osimhen tends to score more from short distances. His shots tends to get more precision and accuracy when he's closer to the keeper than when he's far from the keeper. So when you're talking about rebuilding Manchester United around Victor Osimhen, then you have to get a lot of crossers, because as we all know, Brian Mbeumo likes to whip in a lot of crosses, Matheus Cunha likes to whip in a lot of crosses, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, they like to whip in a lot of crosses, but most of the times it doesn't just work like that. You can't just stand whipping in crosses, and if 40% of Victor Osimhen's shots are coming from headers, that means that most of the times his goals come from headers, which doesn't, or either headers or from set pieces, which doesn't actually work for Manchester United, because this is one of our weaknesses as Manchester United, because we find it very hard to succeed in the set piece, unlike the likes of Arsenal that has been one of the best when it comes to set pieces in world football. Manchester United is a different case because we don't really excel in set pieces. So this is one of the issues that we are going to be faced when we bring in a player like Victor Osimhen, or build the Manchester United team around Victor Osimhen. It's going to be hard for him to score headers, because most of the times we find it very hard to score headers. And I thank God for the revamp in the attack, bringing in the likes of Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo is going to help to really change the perspective, because Manchester United for a very long time have wingers that doesn't really look or focus on creativity. We have goal scoring wingers that looks to just score and don't create. But I think that narrative is going to change definitely with Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo, as they'll be looking to create as much as they'll be looking to score. So that's what we have for the finishing of Victor Osimhen. So guys, the next characteristics of Victor Osimhen we are going to be talking about is his header. And when it comes to header, I couldn't wait to talk about his heading. When it comes to the heading of Victor Osimhen is levels above every other striker in world football. Believe me, you could look at the stats that he's one of the best headers, if not the best header currently in world football. And this is one of the characteristics that is missing in this Manchester United team. So if you want to build Manchester United around Victor Osimhen as the center striker, it's going to be really good, because Victor Osimhen can be very useful in set pieces. Victor Osimhen can be useful in any kind of set pieces, and Victor Osimhen can also be useful whenever you're playing against a low block and maybe you need like maybe a 9 minutes goal, a stoppage time goal, or maybe you want to break the low block with set pieces or with any kind of crosses. Victor Osimhen is definitely a striker that can be able to play that role, and Victor Osimhen can be able to receive passes from goal kick because he has a very decent hold up play, so he can be able to receive long passes from the goalkeeper directly from the goal kick, bring it down, play with his other teammates and all that. So when it comes to header, Victor Osimhen is probably the best header when it comes to central striker in world football currently. He can use his header in any situation. He can also help to bypass the press and also exploit Haaland. So Victor Osimhen is probably one of the best headers in world football because he has a very strong header. He can score short distance header, long distance header, probably every kind of header you want from the center striker. So when it comes to heading, Victor Osimhen has that's where you're going to see the greatest strength of Victor Osimhen. So guys, let's talk about the last few characteristics of Victor Osimhen. So we are going to be talking about his out of position play, and we are going to be talking about his profiling. So Victor Osimhen is a player that actually offers a lot out of position more than in position. Victor Osimhen is a player that presses tirelessly. He's probably one of the best pressers in world football. Victor Osimhen is a player that can press tirelessly all over the match. But one thing I also observed about Victor Osimhen is that most of his pressing and most of his ability usually comes when he's playing against important teams in competition. Probably when he's playing against maybe when he's playing Champions League and international competition. Osimhen is a player that looks to press, that looks to help the team. But whenever he's playing maybe lower teams or teams that are really not, that are maybe will I say inferior teams, he tends to actually reserve his energy, score with headers or score with his leg or make in behind runs. But whenever you are playing an important game, Osimhen is one of those players you are going to definitely count on when it comes to out of position play, because he can run tirelessly, he can press the goalkeeper, he can mark and do other defensive duties. So Osimhen is a player you can definitely count on when it comes to out of position. So when it comes to the profiling of Victor Osimhen, where do you feel Victor Osimhen is going to actually fit in the Premier League? Like in this context, Osimhen is a player that can be able to play in Manchester United, but not just Manchester United. Osimhen is a player that can play in Liverpool, in Arsenal, in Manchester City. The reason for this is that Osimhen is a player that can be able to play. He can hold up the play. He can be able to make in behind runs. He can be able to play in a transition team. So Osimhen is a player that can be able to play in a possession-based team and in a transition team. If you go back and watch my video of Victor Osimhen is a player that is a striker that cannot be able to play in a possession-based team because he looks to run the channel. He looks to run all the time. He's a player that excels or thrives whenever he's given a lot of freedom. But Osimhen is a player that can be able to play whether freedom or no freedom. So this is what makes Osimhen the ideal striker for Manchester United, and he makes it very easy for Manchester United to build around the striker. So this is the reason for this video. Osimhen is one of the strikers that definitely Manchester United is going to need for the next decade to actually transform themselves in the Premier League. Osimhen is the player that definitely, if he enters the Manchester United team or alongside other good signings, he can definitely deliver the Premier League for us. So when it comes to Manchester United and Victor Osimhen, they're actually very wonderful players. And when it comes to other big six in the Premier League, Osimhen can be able to play in other teams in the Premier League. So this is what we have for this video about building Manchester United around Victor Osimhen. So I want you guys to give me your thoughts about where you also feel that Victor Osimhen can be able to play in the Premier League. As for me, Victor Osimhen can be able to play in the Premier League, can play in the La Liga, can play in the Bundesliga, and also all over the world. So see you guys in my next video, guys.